Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 106 of a show I cannot number properly. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and joining us now, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze.
Double B, baby, I like that, man. Just coming down through there. Bobby Blaze, yeah. I was going to tell you, and I appreciate that moniker there, because, I thought about that some more about Arn mentioning, the way the guy asked the question, he just said, Bobby Blaze was a good one. Then he goes, excellent, in fact. But, I was sitting there. I've had I tell the one thing about when he started letting people go, or Arn just walked up to me beside the coffee and tea and waters and stuff at the catering and said, don't give him a reason to let you go, Bobby, and we just, but, I spoke to him several times through the years, but one of our earlier meetings, I had met him in Knoxville. I went down there shortly after Smoky Mountain shut down. It was one of the first nitros, and I about got on then, to be honest with you. Myself and another guy went down there, but that's another long story. But anyway, Arn was one of the first people I saw. He was just sitting at a table, just really relaxed. They wasn't a big dress code at that point. Again, it was just because it was still WCW. The nitro hadn't really taken off yet,
Right.
Anyway, or gotten as big as it did. And anyway, I just walked up to a table and he was introduced, myself to a couple other guys, and Arn and I started talking, and he goes, "Hey, Bobby, we're just two gentlemen discussing business, and hope, we look forward to working with you." And I went down there already talked to Kevin Sullivan that day, and then Paul Orndorff on that Monday at the office, and, things happen for a reason. But anyway, so that was Arn just, kind of let me know, man, he's definitely interested. But one of the things that, and I don't know if I put this in my book or not, and if I did, I don't know which one. If I didn't, I should have. Because sometimes you just don't know how to take a compliment the right way, or you forget about it, or you don't want to put yourself over. But I was sitting there outside the war room at some building. I don't know, it could have been La Crosse, Wisconsin, or fucking San Bernardino, California. I don't know. And Arn come out, and, people would wait for the boards to go up, whatever. But Arn just was talking to me, and we just talking really like he said, two gentlemen discussing business. We were just talking. He said, "Bobby, he goes, I have to think you're putting you up there with, I think you're in the category of Brad Armstrong and Bobby Eaton." He said, "That's what I try to do in those booking meetings." He said, I was like, "Whoa, that's two of the greatest, for me, you know what I'm saying? That's a huge compliment." And he goes, "So, some of these shows we get you booked, and that's what my thinking is. Because we can put you if anyone on this roster, and you can go." And I appreciate that. And like, damn, that made me feel good, just out of blue. And another time, Shane Stormer, if you're out there, he puts up sometimes Vampiro match. I have a great match with Vampiro. I'm not sure we shot that at somewhere out west, to be honest with you. But anyway, I wore a different outfit, and Arn just mentioned, "Hey, Bobby, put that purple back on, don't change up like that, because unless you let one of us know, me or Jimmy or Terry, because we like the direction you're going with the purple." I said, "Okay, didn't get on me, but very professional, just a professional, like, heads up, man, don't change your outfit on the air, kid,
Yeah.
So there was a lot of time, and I'm easy to work with, is what the point was. Jerry Flynn and I had worked. I was with Jerry when he first broke in down in Tampa. He had been over to Japan for a shoot group. He was one of Masami's students. That was Carl Gotch's son-in-law. And he was had been a black belt in karate. I don't know exactly what form, but then he come down here, great shape, good dude. He was actually good friend with Brady Boone too. And so Jerry, he wasn't having any pro matches yet. He'd get ready to go to Japan for a shoot style. He had already been once. He's going back again before he started a pro. So I ended up going out to a town, and I had a choice of either wrestling or reffing and making more money reffing, because I went with the ring crew, and I ended up reffing and making, $15, $20 more doing it that way. And anyway, Jerry, it was like his first match, so I knew him a long time, what I was getting at. And then we trained together a lot. Point being, Arn put us together, and we walked back in the war room together after a match, and he said, he just stood there, man, and just kind of tapped his hands as we walked through the door. It was just us two walking through the same, kind of same. And Arn said, there's the way you do it, gentlemen. He said, my God, he said, that was a good match. And if everyone here could work like you two, this place would be a hell of a lot better off, or something along those lines,
Yeah.
We knew it was a good match because having trained with Jerry, we basically said, hey, be as stiff as you want. Let's go, call it on the go. Let's go. And he did dare not break my arm, which he done from his very first match. I told him, I said, I was refereeing you about fucking snap my arm out in Ruskin, Florida. And I said, why the fuck would you do it, as a referee? And I said, Jerry, that's, 7 or 8 years ago at that point, whatever it was. And I said, I said, fuck. I said, go stiff it, brother. You hooked my elbow. I said, we ain't in Japan. He started laughing, but we had a good thing. But point being, just telling those stories. Arn, if anyone's out there again, tell him thanks. And I'm glad I was easy to work with because I was what you call a professional, Yeah. So there you go. That's what I wanted to get off out of the way. That there was a lot of conversation between Arn and myself, and I have nothing but deep respect for him, and I was glad I got to work along with some of those greats, including Kevin Sullivan. I throw him in there, Terry and Jimmy and Arn at some and Orndorff as well. Being office guys at that time while I was there. And if I left out anyone, I guess I could spin a shout out, Jeremy, to Eric Bischoff getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the reason being, hell, that's who I hired in under. He was the boss then, and he was authorized to authorize other guys to hire people. Terry Taylor was the one that, basically hired me, was interested and hired me after, again, I'd already spoke to Sullivan and Arn and them. But, so, hey, whether you like them or whether you don't like them or whatever, I was going to mention that, well, hell, congratulations to him. I know that Hall of Fame, it's good for the morale of the boys and stuff. Everyone knows it's a political gimmick type thing. It's not to me like a legitimate Hall of Fame, but it is it's good for that fucking Jeremy, I'm going to spit for entertainment purposes only, Yeah, I know. Watch it. But the other thing I started opening up my Booker T voice, but I don't know if I could do him as good as I used to. But I didn't. But because I was going to say something about Hulk Hogan getting to, he's one of the, I guess, guest host along with, what's his name? Shit, now I'm drawing a blank. But I heard Booker T spoke out on, what's his name? He's from Tampa. Bald-headed, big guy. Titus O'Neil.
Oh, okay.
I had his initials here. I couldn't even fucking get out. Anyway, Hulk Hogan and him, I saw his promo. I didn't see Hogan's, but Titus O'Neil's it was. He's from Tampa, and they're at the Raymond James Stadium this year for WrestleMania. That's what it was. And I wanted to give a shout out to Tampa, of course. I guess they're letting 25 or 30,000 people come. I don't know how many people is going to go, but I know if I was in Tampa, I still wouldn't fucking be going. For at least this year, as much as I would like to go to one, I wouldn't be going with the fucking Corona down there. I don't know where I'd go out in Florida, to be honest with you. But you got down there in Tampa town, you got two Tampa guys and Hogan and Titus O'Neil doing the hosting. That's pretty cool, man, And the thing I guess I was going to bring up, I'm not trying to be racist, racial or anything, but I guess, Hogan said some things a few years ago and stuff, and I guess you could he was in the Hall of Fame prior to that, and I guess they kicked him out because of the things he said on that tape or whatever, that he used the racial slur. And then now he's not only back in the Hall of Fame, here he is. You can't cancel that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. I don't like that whole cancel culture anyway, but I'm just saying Hogan, here he is hosting the damn WrestleMania after he got exiled from it a few years back. How things turn. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah. But it's good to see two Tampa guys that's obviously done really good for themselves. And when they're having WrestleMania there in Florida, of course, in Tampa Bay, at the big stadium there, I can dig that, man, because I've got some roots and some connection there, So,
sure. Yeah.
Anyway, there's my rant.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the toxicity had worn off with Hulk Hogan yet. But Bobby, you got to realize when it comes to me, I believe freedom of speech is an absolute. I mean, you have a right to say whatever you want. It doesn't mean a newspaper has to carry it or a TV show has to put you on. But I noticed that now everybody's got to be a fucking victim. And I stand back and wonder, like, yeah, you remember when Colin Kaepernick and the Dixie Chicks were canceled? Nobody's pointing that out, are they? How the fucking, how the fucking worm turns, you know. Colin Kaepernick, a kid right next door to me, basically, fucking couldn't get a job for the last 20 years. Everybody more than happy to pile on him. Yeah. But once it's their guy, oh shit, watch out, everybody. But I'm not for any of that shit. I don't think anybody should be fucking disappeared because they said something that's unpopular, you know.
I saw, I was listening to a podcast the other day, actually, I guess the Oscars, or some, whatever the fucking was here recently, Tony Oscars, whatever it was. Yeah. And someone just said, man, it was a friend of theirs that's in movies, and it was Joey Diaz and Joe Rogan, some of those guys I listen to on a regular basis, Theo Vaughn, just some comedians I listen to their podcast pretty regular. They was talking, I guess, they got several comedians on a group text, and basically even Rogan was saying he don't want to do any fucking movies anymore because he don't want to get that big to where people think they're going to cancel him. But they got a friend in the movie, I don't know who the reference was to, that does a lot of movies, but you never know who he's done. He's like 40 fucking movies or something, but he's always in the background. He stays steady working. But he said, I hope I'm never the fucking lead guy. That's not my goal in Hollywood. He said, because I don't want to get too big that I get canceled. You know, I guess he said it in that group text. That's the thing, man. I hate to see it because some of these people are right. And that whole Kaepernick thing, you know, I mean, he wasn't doing it against the flag or anything.
No.
They had nothing and people took it like, but yeah, how the worm turns, man, you know, what is that? Keep your dick hard, keep your powder dry, and the worm will turn.
Mm-hmm. That's just it. You know, it's like, I have never agreed with it. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that's happening now. Look,
now they'll probably cancel us.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. You know what? Cause I'll change my name and we'll change our names, go under a hood, and we'll start a new fucking show. You know, I mean,
that's right, by God.
Yeah. It irritates me. It's just like, but now, like all of a sudden, you know, because now what's happening to people on this side, even though, you know, during the 80s, I couldn't get a fucking heavy metal album because some church member had convinced my mom that they were actually devil worshippers. But now it's the other side, so now the whole world's in fucking arms about it. Fuck them all. Yeah. It's just, you know.
At least Steve Snyder went and talked to fucking Congress for you.
Yes, he did. Hell, and John Denver too. That was that's the part they act like it was totally surprising, even though John Denver had always been a free speech advocate. But you know, whatever. You know what, Bobby? I think we're gonna get off this topic and get on to wrestling. By God.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, if you wanted to, we'll fucking put the hoods on. We'll start a program called Pin Me, Pay Me.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, everybody. Keep that. That's right. Yeah.
Kayfabe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start off here. We're in Jeopardy, man. I keep thinking of this. I lost on Jeopardy, and I was thinking, I had this wrong name. I was saying, like, that's Greg Kenner or something. Anyway, so the professor smartened me up beforehand. I Lost on Jeopardy was a Weird Al song. Our Loves in Jeopardy was Greg Kihn.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me all mixed up. I can't do the dee. I can't because he made like $15 million for 15 minutes of work when Merv Griffith wrote those the Jeopardy theme. So we're titling our show today, We're in Jeopardy. And we hope to have some fun with this show. And we are going to start off on one small slow, backward kind of downward note, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead and announce that, Professor. Get that out.
Yeah. So, just like every week here lately, we lost another, pro wrestler over the weekend. Barry Orton, aka Barry O. Yeah. Passed away. I have not, cause I saw it in your notes this morning. I have not really had time to dig in. I guess this was, Friday. I haven't really looked into what happened yet, but this is, of course, the son of Bob Orton Sr., the brother of Bob Orton Jr., the uncle of Randall Keith Orton.
Yeah.
Who I believe he is actually named for Barry's first or middle name.
I think so.
Yeah. But I haven't seen what happened yet. But, a guy that You look, I mean, you may not remember right off the top Barrio, but he was everywhere, and you've seen him.
Yeah, he worked all those territories, and then eventually done TVs for New York, for WWE. But rest in peace there, Barrio. I know he did a lot of work. Like I said, one of the things I wanted to say, we're going to get into this again in Jeopardy. I want to mention this. I have several guys, like I took 5 people that you really like in professional wrestling and whose style it was. And Bob Orton Jr. is probably one of my all-time favorite wrestlers and workers. And I knew Malenko had a big hand in helping him train, and Gosh did as well. His dad didn't want him to get into wrestling. Bob Sr. didn't. And, of course, he ended up doing it and being a big star. And, of course, his son's an even bigger star. We'll mention someone else later on, I'm sure. But that's one of my 5 top guys, and I really like. Just watch his style, man. He was just so smooth and fluid in the ring with those knees and elbows and just the superplex and the float over and all that. So anyway, but yeah, Barrio was pretty talented too. He just didn't go as far as Bob did. And I don't know the circumstances. I saw where I think it was Friday. It popped up my Twitter feed like within an hour of it happening, but it didn't go to details. And then it dropped it, and I just added it to the bottom of our notes. So we got that out of the way. Let's move on to something you and I talked about for a couple hours the other day out of the middle of the night, I guess, out there. It was morning. I guess it's not out there, but it was morning here.
Yeah.
And that was the big match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. Man. We talked about that that evening, I guess it was. Was it that evening? I know we didn't watch it live. We watched what they put on YouTube. It was about 5 or 7 minutes, I guess, of the match.
Mm-hmm.
And do you recall the first question you asked me?
No, I don't, because again, it was kind of late that night by the time we got to this topic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said 2 things. You said, what did you think about it, and what did you think about the thumbtacks? And that kind of ran that together. And I said, well, the first thing I saw was the stills, and the first one I saw was her. And I said, is that fucking thumbtacks? Because I had been out that evening a little bit, and I hadn't been on, Twitter or anything. And man, I tell you what, when you're not on that fucking social media or watching the news, life's not bad sometimes.
Sometimes.
But I had went out for a couple hours, and I'll get to that later on too. Very safe when I went out, by the way, just so you know. But I said to you, when I saw the thumbtacks, I said, why? Fuck me, why? And again, it was just a still shot, and then it had a couple other still shots. But then I went to the feed where they just played it right back on YouTube, and I was like, now I get it. Now I know why. That was a hell of a match, man, from what I saw. The only thing I've heard was that the blood wasn't real. At this point, I don't really give a fuck because it was very physical what they did and the way they put it together. I'm not a hardcore fan, but they made sense of, using how to use the table and putting Reba through it. And just the whole deal, man, I thought it was pretty damn good. Now, I don't know if you heard anything about the blood or not, but that's just what I heard.
Yeah, let's see. I didn't even think that it wasn't real blood because normally fake blood looks really bad.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, but maybe stuff's just that much better now. I don't know. I know there's already talk, and I don't know if it's, people are saying it's just because it's new or how people are going to try to write this off. People are saying match of the year already.
Yeah.
I
tell me they got 9 months to fucking top it.
Well, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because here's the thing. Everybody was talking like this was going to be a big deal. I don't think anybody knew just how balls out these 2 chicks were going to go.
Right. They went all out. I have nothing but respect for them. I think I told you at Britt Baker, I was like, why? Because she's a fucking good-looking lady. She's a dentist. I know she loves professional wrestling, obviously, but she just really came on, in her last year when she turned, I guess, and because you're thinking she could have been this little doll baby face or whatever, and then she's in. The deal was since Thunder Rosa got there, I guess, she's actually a bully in the locker room. and, this and that. And it just really played well into that whole match, man, how they built that up. And, I'm happy for fucking both of them. And, it's not going to make me, tune in every week, nothing like that, but I'm going to still follow the product. I want to keep up with it, of course. And when I see something like that, I'm going to definitely, put it over, man,
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just the fan in us. Just being a fan of, enjoying seeing someone do something right. Like I was talking about Arn, you get two professionals in there and they fucking do something right,
Yeah.
We both, we're going to talk about it here in a second again. We both kind of follow Thunder there. And, man, she's just really everywhere this past fucking, with everything going on in the world, she still managed to get a lot of shit done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, Thunder Rosa, there's no question about it. Legit as fuck. I mean, just straight up, just like legit, super legit.
Yeah.
Britt Baker is okay. So I saw her wrestle a couple times in ROH.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you're saying, you notice her because she's hot. Okay. But like most wrestlers are hot these days. I mean, it's just whatever, especially, when the women in wrestling, even though it's not like, when they just look like a bunch of bimbos a handful of years ago, these chicks can go, and most of them are pretty good looking, and you get a mix of those two qualities. But Britt Baker was kind of like, meh, whatever. I mean, cool. Good. Well, why is a dentist doing this? That's really like what you're looking at. She was the first woman, I think, to sign with AEW. So you're just like, okay, yeah. But then, much like we'll talk about Nick Aldis, I'm sure more as we go,
oh yeah, we're going to bring up something here in just a minute. We're going to talk about some of these people again. So anyway.
But Britt Baker is one of these ones I would put there with Nick Aldis. It's like you see them once or twice, you're like, yeah, they're passable, they're good. But then one day they just fucking click. And then you're just like, Jesus Christ, look at that mic work. Look at the, the character that they're putting together now. And then you throw out a match like this and sorry, fuckers, that's it. Nobody's touching it,
Yeah. Eat my dust.
Mm-hmm.
Eat our dust.
Yeah. Those two, put on a match that is going to be hard for anybody else to touch. It's going to be, hopefully they can ride it for a little bit because it's going to be hard for either one of them to hit again too, I think.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can hold on to it. I know Thunder Rosa has a match tonight, actually. With
that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The NWA pay-per-view. So we were going to do a brief rundown on that. Go ahead and start with that girls match if you want, since that's where you're at.
So this is
NWA's number one contenders match.
Yeah, this is for the women's title, the number one contenders match. It's Thunder Rosa versus Camille.
Yeah.
Now Camille is a wall of a woman. She is nothing but good looks and muscle. Problem is like, as they were starting to build her up for what I'm sure was going to be a title run, is right when this, COVID shit hit.
Yeah.
So we never got to see them do what they do, but I remember watching it and I said to somebody, are they doing like a Girlberg angle here? Is she just going to be like a squash match fucking doer? Is that it? So tonight, whatever the results of this are, hopefully we'll begin to set things up and move forward. Yeah. But, I think Thunder Rosa, just by being in it, raises the quality of a match.
Yeah, I think, and she'll probably have to carry that match in all honesty, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to tell you, if you're out there and you're betting on who's going to fucking win these matches, or say, hey, I got it right, I knew she was going to win or he was going to win, man, I hope none of those people listen to our show. You know what I'm saying? Go back and do your sports betting or bet on something else and watch it for what it is, man. Enjoy it, But I don't think anyone in our fan base, because I heard some things, a couple of other wrestling related, a couple guys out of Boston were talking about just something funny, people saying, hey, I got it right. They watched the AWA and they called this match and it is like, I hope our fans aren't those fans that say, oh, I knew it. Just watch it and enjoy it. I think our fans enjoy it because guess what, fuckers? All these matches, I hate to break it to you, are predetermined finishes.
Well, it's even more than that,
so
Bobby.
Enjoy it.
It's like,
pull it back.
Well, you as a writer know that you don't do anything in a story that hasn't been hinted at or foreshadowed. You don't pull an ending out of nowhere unless you're writing a mystery, you don't just pull shit out of the air,
Yeah.
And when you,
Kids.
Well, when you book wrestling right, I would imagine there has to be some hint. Because I remember when Randy Savage became world champion, and I just had a feeling going into it. Of course, I had a feeling going into it. They were trying to lead you in that direction.
Yeah.
They didn't want the shit coming from out of nowhere, you know.
Here you go. Tonight's main event is, I think you want to talk about this one because it's Nick Aldis and Aaron Stevens for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. You have anything to say about that one or any of the other matches for that matter?
You know,
I know there's one I kind of looking at right there is that Travis Murdoch and Chris Adonis. I think they got a good little show there. I don't notice a couple of the other names you put on there. I started looking at Slice Bologna there, but it says Slice Boogie, so I don't know. I don't know who some of these people are, but most of them I do from following the program.
Well, so if we look at that four-way dance they have there, Jack Stain, Slice Boogie, Jordan Clearwater, and Crimson. Crimson, of course, a longtime TNA Impact guy.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jordan Clearwater is a guy that actually he wrestles on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood quite a bit, but William Harding actually knows him from, I believe, Appalachian Wrestling.
Okay.
So he's a David Marquez guy.
Gotcha.
Slice Boogie, I don't know, but Jax Dane is a former NWA champion and Tim Storm's former tag team partner.
Okay. Well, I recognize the name. I just haven't seen him a lot.
Yeah.
And then I saw we had a television title up there with the Pope is a champ versus one of your guys that you like a lot. Is that Littimer. How you say it, Tom?
Yeah, Tom Latimer.
Latimer.
Yeah.
He's the one to fucking deadlift your ass, won't he?
No, that was his tag team partner.
That was his partner.
Who is now at AEW. Unfortunately, the NWA lost a lot of talent over the last year.
Yes, they did. They did.
But Tom Latimer is still a badass on his own. Trevor Murdoch, of course, is a match I'm looking forward to. But let's go ahead and talk about Nick.
That's the one I think.
Yeah.
That's the one I think would be pretty just good to watch because I think it's going to be really old school style match.
Yeah, Trevor Murdoch's a lot of fun to watch because it is just straight up. They book it like, well, in the past, they had always booked it like an old school NWA match.
Thank you. Okay. And you want to talk about Nick Aldis?
But So Nick Aldis is a guy that when I first started watching him, like, he looks good in the ring. Okay. I mean, his look is great. The suits are nice. He carries the belt well. He looks like a world champion should probably look,
Yeah.
But they were booking him like a tweener and it fucking wasn't working. And you weren't really sure where he was coming from. And then one day he just went with the heel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just jumped leaps and bounds at that moment. He just his game went up solidly every week as he started getting more comfortable with being a heel champion. I'm hoping he can pick up right where he left off. Yeah,
because there at the end he was really turning it up a notch, man.
Yeah,
before the NWA, did well for this whole Corona thing.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the Aaron Stevens, Aaron Stevens. I think he's funny. He was great with the question mark. Rest in peace, Joseph Hudson, Josephus. This is a tribute match for Joseph Hudson. I don't know a lot about Aaron Stevens. I guess he was in the WWE at one point. I don't
he done pretty good up there, actually.
Yeah.
Just doing the gimmick that he was given, or maybe he'd come up with it on his own with creative. But yeah, he done all right with that. I actually enjoyed it. It was theatrical.
So
it was actually something that looked kind of hard to pull off unless you knew what the fuck you were doing, and he pulled it off.
Yeah. Well, so I'm hoping he turns out to be. I'm hoping this turns out to be a good match. I would like to see the NWA get a good, good chunk of business coming back.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it. Too. Yeah. I do want to get into something real quick before we jump into our regular show here. So, my brother, I went over to my mom's house for dinner this week. My brother tells me, hey, did you see that David Marquez said he's done with the NWA? He wasn't invited back. And David Marquez did a lot of heavy lifting on the NWA previously.
Right.
And he's been a wrestling promoter for 25 or 30 years.
I think 25 years at least.
Yeah, he just
opened. You turned me on to him, actually.
Yeah, he just opened up Memphis. He has an established one in Arizona, established in Hollywood. He just opened one up in San Francisco. He also just had announced his own world championship with the United Wrestling Network. Now, they had already had a TV champion and tag team champions, and basically, if you have a TV deal, you can join the United Wrestling Network with your wrestling company, and you get shots at the titles. Okay, so now they've announced their own world champion, which I thought was going to be a bit of a conflict of interest with him promoting for the NWA, since that's really what they had going for them, was the world championship. All right, so to get past that, he says, hey, I don't have anything to do with him anymore, blah, blah, blah. Then he starts tweeting out that a lot of the guys on the NWA show this weekend are his. Then he starts tweeting out that he was the guy who brought the NWA champion to China. And either he's rubbing salt in a wound or he's pushing an invasion angle. I don't know which. But it seems...
Yeah, I think there's something going behind the scene from what you're telling me.
Yeah, it seems like something's building, right?
Yeah. He tweeted just a couple hours ago wishing Billy Trask, returning today, director of @NWA Programming, Kill It Tonight on @Fight TV. So he's still up, even 5 hours ago. He's putting fun times and has pictures of him at NWA Power with several of the talents there. So yeah, it looks if he's not, he could be just someone just being nice and not being an asshole, mad at a former employee situation with some of these people and boss management type thing. But then again, they could be planning something big, and I hope the fuck they are. Hope it's some foreshadowing, because he seems like a pretty good guy and seems like he knows what the fuck he's doing with the wrestling business. So that's just my opinion. And I know, Jeremy, we're getting ready to go to Jeopardy in a second. I want to say something.
Yeah. As
I was just now getting riled up here saying that, I dropped the big F-bomb. Okay, that's just because the way I talk, I just happen to hear myself say it there, good fucking luck to him or whatever. Like I just now meant to say at that time. We had talked, folks. If you're out there, bear with me. We're talking about trying to put some kind of gimmick over that. My bad language or the professor's bad language if we drop an F-bomb. It is not intentional. We're not trying to be a shock jock. We're not trying to lose viewers or listeners. We're not trying to, we love to gain you, but maybe dropping that many F-bombs is not the smartest way to gain some of our other younger crowds or whoever, our target audience is or whatever. But we talk about trying to clean it up some. So I'm going to try my best to. I won't promise you anything, but if not, I think the professor may come up with I think you mentioned a swear jar.
I think starting next week, we're going to institute a swear jar. And
I'm not how you sure you're going to do it, but tell me or tell our fans what you thought of.
Well,
what the idea or premise was for it.
Yeah, so we have to put an explicit tag on our show every week, which limits how far iTunes and other companies will push our show. So I figure if we can clean up our language, we should be able to reach a wider audience.
Yeah, I'll try.
Well, that's the thing. It's both of us. This is how we talk. So I don't know how successful it's going to be.
Right.
But I'm going to put together a swear jar, and then every time we cuss, we're going to have to drop a quarter in it.
Yeah. And you got to put some kind of sound effect out there or something. Change hitting a jar or a pinball machine lighting up, or I think Tex did a couple on YouTube where he put like a woohoo or something like that in there, some kind of sound over, some of them did slip in there, on some of those, but had an F-bomb on them. But anyway, we'll have to try to do something like that. But anyway, look here, we got to get into our program title, man, is, I know I want to say I lost on Jeopardy, or love's in Jeopardy, but it's we're in Jeopardy, man. And we got 5 topics going across here. We've got the NWA. Now, imagine Jeopardy out there, folks. If you haven't watched Jeopardy, I imagine all of our audience has. If you haven't, turn it on some evening, and enjoy yourself. It's a fun game show if you have time or you like that kind of stuff. But we're going to do the NWA, the AWA, the WWE, champions, and Pot Pourri. Pot, how you say that? Potpourri.
Potpourri, yes.
Potpourri, Bobby. Okay, so anyway, some of these, if it's an easy question, it's probably one I came up with. If it's a more difficult one, it's probably one the professor came up with. So what we're going to do, I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of read these questions, give a half a second. Now, we're not going to let the heavy dead air time out there, but we're not going to answer it right that second. So our fans will have a second to say, oh, I know that answer, and I would have got that question right if you were on Jeopardy. Is that correct, Professor?
That is correct.
Okay. Open us up on the board. I think we agreed to go. Are we going to do each category or jump away? Or are you going to, as we do a category, you're going to lead it off our screen? How are we going to do this?
I think once we start a category, we'll probably stick with it.
Okay.
But if you close one down, you get to pick the next topic.
Okay. And we've got five questions under each topic, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we got about 25 questions here, folks. I hope you enjoy it. And I don't know, hell, do you want to ask me first? I want to ask you first. Where do we want to start at first? Go from there. I don't know. Hell, let's have fun.
Well, here, I'll start you off. What topic do you want to open with?
Oh, man. I think I will start with, because these were some of your questions. My first question you put up there. I think I'll start with champions for 100 or whatever it was. I like that.
All right. I was the first AWA champion.
I immediately want to say Varnganya, but I know I'm wrong.
You would be wrong. The first.
I would go. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say who is. And once I saw the question, like, yeah, okay, I know this one. But it took me a second because, like I said, that was what I wanted to say at first. But who is Pat O'Connor? I actually knew that one.
Yeah.
So, okay. That's a good question, by the way. I like that one. I knew it was your question. So anyway, take me from there. I guess I'll go to, I'll stay in champions. Is that right?
We'll stay in champions. Yeah. So
okay.
This team won our greatest tag team of all time. I guess countdown or top 10 award.
Yeah. On our top 10, we had top tag teams. If you're out there, I think our fans probably have a pretty good idea who we had. I know it was Texas. I know it's ours. Fans, if you're playing along at home, you should have answered by now. Who is it, Professor? Or am I supposed to answer it?
Well, if you know the answer.
Who are the Midnight Express?
That is.
Yeah. Who are the Midnight Express?
That is correct.
Yeah.
It was the Midnight Express won our countdown.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was even a close one. Like, I mean, I think like we started the list knowing we were going to end up there, you know?
Yeah, everyone is right in it. If the Midnight Express is not on the top of this list, you know, all of our fans did. Next question there.
All right.
We'll play it to the hilt here. So
all
go
right.
ahead.
The next question here. These are two of the AWA mid-card titles. So name any two AWA mid-card championships.
Okay, straight shoot. The Southern title, and that's all I know.
Okay, so there'd be this, and actually that could be two because there was also the Southern Tag Team Championships.
Okay, gotcha.
I
remember the Southern title and the Southern tag. You're right, but obviously there's more answers. I don't know.
Yep. There's the America's Champion, which is me.
Mm-hmm. I
am the AWA America's Champion, and prove me wrong.
Right.
Yep. There was the Light Heavyweight Champion, of which Mr. Electricity Steve Regal was one of. Of course, there were the Southern.
That's correct. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. There were the Southern titles, the tag and the singles. There were the international world titles, which were used at CWA as well. So there were tag and singles championships that were also defended partially there and partially in Japan. And there were also British Commonwealth titles.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there was other stuff like the Omaha Championship and things that were in there as well. But
okay. Well, I guess it's for me, my time to ask you a question, staying under the category of champions, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have held more world titles than any other wrestler.
And that is an easy one to answer. Who is Jerry the King Lawler?
Yeah, that's a $100 question down there in the fucking $400 top $400 area.
Yeah.
Well, how many titles did he own?
I believe the official count is 168.
I think you're correct because we had that on a previous show, and that is correct answer. And you get your turn at the board, sir.
All right, let's go with AWA.
AWA. Okay. Damn if you don't get this one, Professor. Okay. I won the AWA title in May of 1988. Who am I? Or however you want to answer it there.
88. Well, there's only two people it could be, but it's too early for Zbyszko, so it's Jerry Lawler.
Yes, you are correct, sir. Jerry Lawler. And I've done some business with the king himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was thinking something too. I saw Lawler back in '84 in Lexington one time. I was down there. I went to several matches in '80. I don't know if I went to '83 in Lexington. I think I may have went to one, but I definitely in '84 went to several in Lexington. And I remember standing almost right where the wrestlers used to come out at, and Lawler was standing by himself, and I was standing right there, and I was like, he's not overly big, I know he's Jerry the King Lawler, and I just wanted to, how do you get in this business kind of thing, but I just stood there looking like I'm going to get in this business someday, sir, thinking that, because I got a better story when I did ask Don Morocco about how do you get into the wrestling business. You ever heard me tell that?
No.
Yeah. So '84, my brother and uncle and two of my friends were in Huntington, West Virginia. So I didn't ask Lawler, but I ended up doing business with him. So I learned to get into business because what I wanted to ask him in '84 was, how do you get into the business? But no, Don Morocco, they had these drinks at the Civic Center called the double dribble. Basically, it was a double dunk or a double dribble. It was about a 22-ounce thing of beer you could get. I'm not sure it's quite 24, but it's 22. I know that. In a paper cup, and Rocco was up there and no one was around. He was at the very last concession stand near the back where the boys come out, right where they have it blocked off. So my two buddies stay in the stands, but my brother and my uncle and I, we come around the corner, we're taking a whiz, whatever. There's Morocco. We see him, he's grabbing 4 beers, 4 of these big suckers without a holder, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 in each hand. And I get there first, and I'm right to the table where the cutoff is, where you're not supposed to go behind, right? And because the curtain's like 10 feet behind that. And I go, hey, Mr. Morocco, how do you get to the wrestling business? Well, I've already said, hey, Mr. Morocco. He turns around, probably out of instinct, because someone's yelling at him.
Yeah.
He turns around, sees it's just me and my 2 uncles, or my brother and uncle rather. So it's not like a big crowd of people, and we're not harassing them. I just like, I said, man, and he's holding 4 beers, and he goes, yeah. And I go, man, how do you get in this business? He sets the cups down on that table, and we're slowly approaching. We're not like real close, but we're getting closer to where he's at, the cutoff barrier. He picks up one of the beers and just downs it, man. I mean, just that 22 ounces is gulp. Now, he was in like the second or third day, so he had a good sweat going on.
Mm-hmm.
He picks up the other 3 beers, turns around, just lets out the biggest belch in the world, and he goes, I don't know. See the promoter, kid. And me and my uncle and brother, we just start rolling, man. But it's time about 4 or 5 other guys have come back here, seeing where we were at, like they thought they'd get backstage too. But dude, by the time them other fans got there, we were cracking up so loud, man, because he just let that cup fall, picked up the 3 beers. And I told Morocco that story. We were in a van together over in Australia, and he was real friendly. I saw him on a plane from Hawaii over, and but we didn't talk until like the next day when we got there. Jet lagged and doing our stuff. He probably wasn't, because he flew in from Hawaii. That's where I made my connection. But anyway, a few days into it, I said, he's a pretty good dude. Go ahead and tell him, man. So there was a bench between us on the bus. Like I left an empty seat in front of us. He was in the passenger side. Then I was in like the second seat back. There was bags in the second seat, so I was like third seat. I'm away from enough. Someone to get him off of me if he goes nuts on me or something. But I told him that story. And he turned around and he was kind of looking at me, listening to it. And there's a couple of people on the bus, 3 or 4 people, the van rather, besides us. We was in a heel van. And he said, you know what that means, don't you, Bobby? And I said, no. And he goes, we'll have to have a beer later on tonight. And I go, all right, man, So we did. That was cool. But anyway, back to hope you like that story from Australia with Don Morocco. But I wanted to ask Jerry Lawler when I saw him, because I was about 10 feet away from him, hey, King, how do you get in the wrestling business? I know he's a teetotaler, so he probably would have drank, but he probably would have said the same damn thing. See the promoter, kid. Okay, so we're still under AWA. You got it right. I get to ask you a question again. I was the last AWA champion.
Larry Zbyszko.
Wrong.
Huh?
That's who I would have guessed too, I think. I would have guessed the same thing. I did not know the answer. Are you ready for the answer?
I am.
It is, who is I Am Vacated. He makes an appearance on our show again. I Am Vacated.
Okay.
I would have guessed the Bisco too, my friend. We both would have got that one wrong. How did you do out there, wrestling fans in our audience? I don't know.
Poof. Well, I sounded pretty confident when I said that too, didn't I?
Yeah, and I think I would have as well. So shout out to Vacated, or I Am Vacated there.
Yeah.
Hope you're still listening at this point. So I guess we're under the next, we're still on AWA.
Still on AWA.
Yes.
All right, Bobby. So Ray Stevens, Bobby Duncombe, and Nick Bockwinkel were a part of what faction in the AWA?
Man. I would say, without trying to look at the answer, if I knew it, I would say Bobby Heenan had something to do with it, so he'd be their manager. And I'd say it was probably Bobby Heenan's stable, to be honest with you. I may have said family second, so I'm not going to lie. I would say, the Heenan stable or something. I don't know. I knew Heenan would have done with it, but I don't know if I'd have said family or stable, or just the Heenan clan, to be honest. So I don't know.
So you would be right if Heenan had horses, because you keep horses in the stable.
Yeah.
He had the family, the
point.
Heenan family, yes.
Good point, sir. Yes. That's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I would have probably said stable first. But okay, the Heenan family.
Yeah.
And that's some talented guys. We had them under wrestling's all-time great stables when we done a podcast on that top 10. But yeah, but we know that was a family. You're right. All right, so back to you. I think you'll get this one for some reason. I really do, because you've referenced it before at the top of our program several times. I never get it. The question, or the answer is, these AWA wrestlers appeared at the beginning of what movie? The Freebirds, Greg Gagne, Tonga Kid, and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell.
That one I don't even have to pause. That was the Highlander, and they said it was at Madison Square Garden. I just don't know if the AWA ever did shows at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
Yeah, but that's how the movie opens, and I almost didn't watch that movie because it started with a wrestling scene. I was like, what the fuck am I getting myself into?
Well, it's your turn on the board still. Where you want to go? We've eliminated champions and AWA, so we have left your choice of the NWA, the WWF, or some of that Pot Pourri.
Pot Pourri.
Pot Pourri. There you go.
That's
a lot of work. I just can't pronounce that word. Pourri. I don't know. Where do you want to go, sir?
Speaking of Pot Pourri, I believe that Don Morocco used to live in a city I lived in for a while called Santa Cruz. And if that was the case, I heard it because somebody told me they got really fucking high over a whole weekend with Don Morocco.
He used to be a surfer, right?
Yeah, and Santa Cruz. Yeah.
That's cool.
No, Santa Cruz would definitely be a place to live if you're a surfer. I know Micah used to get up early and go surfing some days when we lived there. So,
man.
Yeah. Let's go with the WWE.
WWE. Okay. You need to think about for a second before we go there. That could be a future topic. Morocco's name's come up several times just in the last few minutes, and we're not going to the WWE, so I don't think it comes back up on here, but that may be a guy we do in the future. We don't talk about enough. So I don't know, just an idea. Okay, top 100 question. I won my first WWE title at the age of 28 in 1963. Who am I?
63? Oh, but at 28? Okay. I was going to say somebody else in 63, but 28. Well, it can't be Buddy Rogers then, so it's got to be. Is that too early for Bruno? Bruno Sammartino.
You're correct.
You're
correct. That's the one where we talked about, I think, on in WWF Champions was there's a match. Buddy had missed a couple shows where he went to the hospital, some heart problems.
That's right.
And then I think they done the match in like 43 seconds. Bruno come in. He had been suspended actually from the WWF. He had missed shows in Baltimore and somewhere else, Chicago maybe. I know it's an East Coast place. But nonetheless, WWF let him go and fined him like $500 or something. But he always thought McMahon, he thought something shady going on. But long story short, he was going to take some bookings, I think in California, end up going up to Canada, end up coming over there for Jack Tunney. And by that time, that's when they said, hey, we'll pay your $500 fine, come back. And that's when Bruno really, so 1963. I don't know for a fact where he won that title. I was going to say, I know he had defended it in Baltimore during some of those early times. I'm not sure that's where he won it at, but he may have at Baltimore Civic Center. I'm not sure. All right, so you got that right, Bruno. Let's go to the next one. I made my WWE debut on November 22nd, 1990.
November 22nd. Well, that would be Thanksgiving, so it's the gobbledygooker.
I knew you was going to say that. Okay, so that's a double whammy here. I know it's a different game show, but I'm going to whammy you because you're correct. And I started to put that as my answer too, and that's who I probably would have fucking put, and we both would have been wrong because we know it's the Undertaker.
Oh, that's
but it was the gobbledygook man or whatever. It was what's his name? Hector.
It was Hector Armando. Yeah, it was Hector.
It was Hector Guerrero. Yeah, come out with the egg. What is it? Big old turkey egg? Is that what it was? Eggshell? I don't know, man.
They promoted that for what, a month and a half ahead of time?
Yeah, about 4 to 6 weeks for sure, man.
Yeah, oh,
for sure.
If
not longer, actually, it might have been an 8-week promo. I don't know. They were ready for that.
Okay, well, I guess so I bit the dust on that one. So let me ask you the next question.
I think I would have too, man. Yeah. Okay.
Little red faced over here, but okay. Okay, let me see. What is the correct way to do this one? All right, who won the 1994 Royal Rumble?
Okay, I know the answer to this one. It was kind of a tricky question. Kind of like the gobbledygoobler there. That should have been. So I know the answer because this was. I would say one of these two guys, and I'd be right because they both were co-winners, and that was Lex Luger and Bret Hart. They eliminated each other simultaneously, I think, and that's why I knew that. I don't know if it's happened before or since, but I knew that year there was co-winners. It was Bret Hart and Lex Luger. Correct or not?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That matches the answer I have.
Okay, and I'm not sure. The only thing I wasn't sure of, and I didn't go back and watch it, to be honest with you, the even ending of it. When they eliminate each other, I think they're supposed to both even touch the floor at the same time or whatever it was, and they did. So it's one of those things. It wasn't anything more than that. They were just co-winners of it.
Boy,
I guess he was the narcissist then, I guess. I don't know if he was even then the narcissist, but it's 94.
That was definitely during one of the periods I wasn't watching. But how do you time two people hitting the floor simultaneously? I get that's probably camera editing, huh?
Yeah, it was close. They both just went over the top at the same time. It may have been like you said, it may have been something more as far as the floor editing there.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a tough one coming up. It looks like staying in that category.
All right. You ready? Okay, Bobby. What does Vince McMahon hate more than anything?
I'm gonna give you my straight answer. Okay.
Okay.
And folks at home, you probably already know the answer. I don't know. My answer would be getting sneezed on or coughed on around him. He hates people that sneezes or coughs around him. And that's one of my OCD things too, but especially nowadays. But yeah, that's my answer is he hates when people cough or sneeze around him.
Okay, you're close. He hates pro wrestling more than anything else.
I should have got it because your fucking rant against the WWE couple years back there. If you haven't seen that, folks, go to our YouTube channel at tinyrl.com/BBBB video. It's one on there that Tex edited down from one of our top 10s. And Jeremy and I talk about WWE, and Jeremy goes on a rant about the fucking We didn't discourage anyone from reading them, watching them, or not buying their network. We didn't do that. But Jeremy went on a pretty good rant about WWE hates wrestling. So I should have got that. But that's just things I've heard from all the podcasts I listen to. I've heard Jim Cornette mention it. I've heard Arn mention it. Someone else too, I can't think of who it was. One more guy during the podcast mentioned that. So that's why I said that answer. That was my answer.
All right, so I'm gonna give you the actual points, but for our purposes, he hates pro wrestling. But you're correct. What does he really hate? Yeah, the idea of being exposed to germs.
There you go. Thank you. Anyway, do you want back to the board or my?
No. I'm gonna give you that one.
Okay, you give me that one. All right, I'm gonna go to, I guess, NWA.
NWA. Okay. I was the first NWA champion in 1948.
Okay, I know the answer because we done this program. When we first got back together, we done NWA Champion was a program. Go to the archives and check it out. The first one we did was we did the NWA one. And of course, a lot of people at home, if you don't know it by now, it's Orville Brown. Don't jump out there and say Luthez because that's where I about went. But I wanted to say Orville Brown first in 1940. He was the champion. Correct or not?
That is correct. It was Orville Brown. Of course, Orville Brown's time was cut short by a car wreck, which is how we get to Luthez.
Yes, sir. And we discussed that in the past, and that was two of our really good programs earlier on once we got back together. So check again in archives. I got to stay at NWA, I guess. So.
All right. We were known as the Awesome Twosome and tag champs in 1986.
Who were Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude.
Yep, and came out to the song We Will Rock You, and it was one of the badassest entrances on a little studio show ever.
And they beat the fuck out of people.
Yeah, they
were tough, legit tough.
Were they?
And I knew that. Go ahead.
Were they the guys that cornered the Rock and Roll? Like got Ricky in the corner and just slugged the shit out of him and broke his arm or something was how they got it? Or am I remembering?
Man, sounds familiar, but hell.
That might have been the Horsemen, but these guys were badass when they were.
Yeah, they were tough, man. And I knew that from Manny because I'd met Manny more than a few times, and Manny's got some stories, I'll tell you that. And if you listen to anything watch him on YouTube, you can catch some of his stories there. But he was telling me about when Rude went to New York and he still had the titles. And, he'd done big business in Florida, as had Rude, of course, so that they knew Dusty pretty good. And apparently, I guess when Dusty come to Manny and he's like, where's your partner at? And Manny's like, fuck if I know, I'm a grown man. I take care of my business. I'm here, Dusty, And Rude already jumped to New York,
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess he said, I don't know, you just hear saying stuff, but they wanted him to drop the titles or something, and he goes, well, how are we going to drop them with, to whoever? And I don't know how that played out, but according to Manny, he said, he goes, we need to bring the titles in or something. Manny said something like, I said, well, which sounds like, but yeah, that's how I knew that one. That's a good NWA question. It seemed like they had the R&R. It seemed like they had another name with that too. I can't remember what it was, but they had some good matches. They were tough guys, man. But they could go. They could both go. They could work.
Absolutely.
They could both go, man.
And they were both guys you don't fuck with too, right? Like outside.
Oh, absolutely.
Man. Both of them were guys.
That's why I said it. Yeah, you don't want to. Oh man, I've heard stories about both of them in clubs and in street fights, for real. And yeah, they're legit dudes, man. I talked to I was at a show. There was a couple of guys that they were North Carolina State Patrolmen doing a gimmick, and they was talking about they had to take Manny out of a cell one night because it's no secret that he had, had a few drinks after the show or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And they had to come and get him out of the cell because there was like 4 or 5 other guys in there, and they was all scared. And he's like, You got to get the guy out of here. He's going to kill us. They knew who he was. But now I'll tell you this, I booked Manny. He come up with Frank Murdoch, and we had a Tracy Smothers. Terry Gordy couldn't make it. That's why Manny ended up coming in. Gordy was originally booked, but he was still fit. He just had finished with New York, but he ended up getting a couple more bookings for them as the executioner, I think, at the time. And we went to Manny was up in Beckley, West Virginia, and had a ring set up and stuff. And we had training, and he had some matches there and this and that. But we booked him on his show in Lewisburg, West Virginia. It was a good Smoky Mountain show. We only done it about once every 3 months up there. The TV was good. It not too far from Beckley. So, it was on the loop though. But anyway, so I took over at town for a couple, maybe 2 or 3 shows. I'd take over. I said, they let me come in. The promoter, they was with the, one of the groups like the Kiwanis Club or something. I kept good communication with them. They said, hey, can you put us together a show? And of course, Smoky Mountain. And I said, yeah, I ran like 3 shows up there. Done all right. Not Smoky Mountain business, but good business. And anyway, we're at the arena. We'd already done, it was 4th of July week, and we'd done like July 4th, 5th, and 6th. I think it was, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I had 3 Smoky Mountain towns lined up. They all did really good. Anyway, we're there at the arena, and here comes the police in. And they said, yeah, we're looking for Manny Fernandez. And I just sit there, man. I was like, I ain't stooging him out, but I know right where he's at, A couple other guys are just sitting there, and they go, we heard that Manny Fernandez is booking a show. Do you know when he's expected to be here? Manny comes out of the locker room, and he goes, I'm right here. They start talking to him. I don't know what all was said. He calls me over there. I'm talking to the police. Yes, sir. To the policeman. He goes, we got Manny here. And Manny said, Bobby, it's a little bit of, and he starts telling me it's a little bit of trouble he got in, which I didn't know. I'm like, I guess he owed some money to someone. I don't know what it was. I know he didn't owe me any money, and I know I'd probably owe him money, and I didn't want to fucking deal with,
Yeah.
So anyway, the police said, here's the deal. Because I was a promoter, that's why he called me over there. And the guy's name, there was 2 brothers, there was Campbell's was their last name that was over to Kiwanis. Anyway, they said, will you give us your word that you will make sure he comes to the police station as soon as the show's over because he has an outstanding warrant for this arrest. And I think it was on the Saturday night show. They said, judge won't be until Monday. So basically it's asking for collateral. And I'm like, fuck, I ain't got any collateral. You know what I'm saying? I ain't getting up here and fucking putting my ring up or, salaries or anything I was paying the boys that night or anything. But anyway, it all worked out. So no shit. We all went to the police station, me and a couple guys I'd riding with and a couple guys from down in North Carolina that had come up for the show and a couple guys from West Virginia that was working the show. Then we followed Manny down to the damn police station and he went there. That's 10 o'clock at night, went there, turned himself in. And I don't know if I can't remember the bullshit charges or whatever it was. It's something legit. I'm saying bullshit. We stayed to midnight and we all was like, man, I got to go. The show's been over for 2 hours. I could have been home by now, And he goes, oh, it's all right. I'll be out of here. Because they was assuring us that the judge was going to let him go at midnight because they little small town,
Yeah.
And he had to wait till Monday. Well, long story short, man, he went to jail. We left right at about midnight. And then the next day when we got to the next town, he was there, and the guys in the ring truck, they said, yeah, we come through a little bit after midnight. Here comes Manny walking out of jail up there, man. So it's just one of those funny stories. I don't know. Hell, I'm talking too much today, but that's my answer. Fuck it. Give me another one.
All right. The NWA Board of Directors wouldn't let Who drop the title to either Vern Gagne or Buddy Rogers causing two big rifts and other companies to separate themselves from the NWA?
I do not know.
Okay. That one is Lou Thez.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't know that, because I think we talked about that on our NWA show, didn't we?
I believe we did, yeah.
And I just drew a blank because I guess my mind was still in that fucking man he was, how calm, cool, collected he was about you. I apologize. Back to you, the last one here on NWA.
Yeah.
We are tied as holding the NWA presidency the most number of times. So who was that?
Oh shit. Okay. Sam Muchnick and Jim Crockett.
I would have put Crockett in there for sure. Who'd you say, Sam?
Yeah, Sam Muchnick, yeah.
That's who I would have put too, but you've missed it. It's Bob Geigel.
Bob Geigel. I
and
wouldn't.
Jim Crockett Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Crockett Jr. I thought that was a gimme.
Yeah, we are tied as holding the NWA presidency the most numbers of years, and it was Geigel and Jim Crockett Jr. And I would have been like you. I'd have put Sam up there too, but I didn't. I think you're right with the Jim Crockett Jr. being and you could maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Bob Geigel, Sam Music, might have even guessed them two instead of Jim Crockett Jr. Maybe I would have.
Well, except I would have too. Except I know that Jim Crockett Jr. there at the end had a lock on the presidency, and he served. They said almost more than anybody. It was the thing I had heard one time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's the only one. That's why I know that. But as far as the other, I wouldn't even have guessed Bob Geigel.
Okay. All right, man. Where are we off to? Oh, man. Pot Pourri.
Yep. All right, Bobby. The all-time greatest game show host.
I know this. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Woolery. 2 minutes and 2 seconds from Ashland, Kentucky. Chuck Woolery. That's my answer.
Okay. Well, the answer we have written down here is Alex Trebek.
Yes, I know that.
I
know that.
Alex
You're correct.
Trebek.
And I think he did it. You told me, I think 36 years, right? As long as running. Okay. I wanted Chuck Woolery is from Ashland. And back in the 90s, he's got a street named after him down here.
I did not know that.
Some people have their streets. Several. Brandon Webb was the Cy Young Award winner. I'm trying to think of some. Billy Ray has a part of the Country Music Hall of Fame. The judge, this section of Route 23 is known as the Country Music Hall Highway there. The judge went, Bobby Blaze? What the fuck? No. But anyway, back to Chuck Woolery. Yeah, down by the park, he has a street named after him. And back in the 90s, he come in to be Grand Marshal for the Christmas parade. Our Christmas parade always takes place the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And so I was at the YMCA working out, doing some training. Had been associated with that Y since I was a young kid. I'd stayed a member there for years. And anyway, Chuck Woolery comes in, man, and he's got this smoking hot wife with him. Yeah, like I don't know which wife this was. I think it was 3. It could have been 4. I think at the time it's 3rd. But so anyway, I don't know which one it was, but had a young daughter with him. She went over to, youth gym or whatever. But anyway, young, I'm saying like maybe 15, 16, something like that. But so Chuck Woolery comes in, got a tank top on. He's tan. He's got his Hollywood whole look to him. It's a Saturday morning that's dead too, by the way, just so everyone knows that. This is Thanksgiving weekend. So everyone's been out shopping and fuck all, whatever, Friday and probably that Saturday morning. So he comes in with this little tank top on, goes and picks up some 20-pound dumbbells, and it starts doing like a quick kind of a pump, and just kind of looking around. And just a couple people speak to him and this and that, and like, that's Chuck Woolery, know who it is, So he comes back by and he goes, can you show me where the health club's at? A real nice guy. He didn't say it asshole-ish, nothing like that. Like, yeah, you walked by it coming in. It's right here because that's where the whirlpool, that's where he should have been at, honestly. He was going in there with a men's health club where it has a more smaller workout area, more private. Also, it had the steam sauna. It's the triple threat workout, steam, sauna, and shower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what he was looking for, and tanning beds. But, dude, I went back into the fitness place, the fitness forum. Kid you not, his wife's got these tight, hot fucking yoga pants on, man. Great legs. I'm just telling you. She's got this hoodie on, though, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes over to the squat rack. And I was in pretty good shape. I had my mullet. I had a tan. You know, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Sitting there, go back to do my routine. I look up in a mirror. She's stepping underneath a squat bar, and she looks up, and we make eye contact. Now, kid you not, this is a true story, man. So, I'm like, holy fuck. Hollywood blonde, classic Hollywood blonde look, which okay. I got my certain type, okay?
Yeah.
That's not my type, but also I have another type called female. That's my type. And dude, she steps back away she just had the bar on. She steps back underneath the squat rack, reaches across with each arm like you do in a fucking TV show. Instead of just reaching down the sides and pulling your hoodie up and taking it off, she does it almost like she's doing a strip tease. She takes this big-ass fucking hoodie off, okay? And now you can see the yoga pants only come up to, probably bottom of her belly button. Big midriff right there clearing. And the greatest, you can just tell in this halter top, sports bra, one of the greatest sets of tits I've probably ever seen in my life without revealing to the nipple part. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my God. They were fucking great. And she smiles at me, and I walk over there, and I'm like, oh, man. I mean, I could tell she's flirting. I ain't stupid. So I'm like, I said, do you need some help with this? She goes, yeah, I wonder if you can help me do some of this squat properly, my trainer. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so she stepped under that rack, and I watched her. Dude, she had like perfect fucking form, boom, boom, done like a couple of sets of 10 or whatever. Chuck comes through. Dude, I think he, might have been like, hey, if you want some of that, you could probably have it if I could watch. I don't know that. Just saying. He come through and he was glad that she met a workout partner. That's all I'll say. But she'd done a couple little things and I stuck with her and we just kind of talked. Nothing, it all, at that point, let's all clear our minds. Nothing happened. It was all good, clean fun. But I'll tell you, my mom, bless her heart, she was alive at the time. She was working in a service center, which is connected to the front desk. And another lady that was about my mom's age at that time worked at the front desk, who I knew for quite a long time. I went up to the front and I said, Mom, and she was talking to this lady, shit, I can't think of it. I said, Elaine's running. Anyway, Mom and Elaine were kind of talking. Like I said, they was right there to sit together, service center and the front desk, connected by one little section. And I go, Mom, you're not going to believe this. I said, you see Chuck Woolery coming here with his wife? And they're both looking. I'd say about anything anyways. You could tell. I said, his wife figures she got the best fucking tits you ever seen. And I go, how'd you see her tits? I go, well, I didn't see them all the way. I said, she took her sweatshirt. I said, my God. I said, her surgeon needs to be paid double time or something, man. And they was like, what are you doing back there looking? I said, it was obvious, man, So they got a big kick out of it. They wanted to go back there and see her at that point. I said, well, she probably got her hoodie on or whatever. But I want to tell you a good Chuck Woolery story there. What the hell? I don't know. I think he's moved on past that, and maybe she has too. I think there was actually, I think she was from Nashville or something. I don't remember what she told me, but
oh man,
I could have seen more probably, but I wasn't fully into my main game at that time. I was just beginning it, just the infancy of the just the swinging, whatever people accuse me of.
Yeah.
Someone asked me about that the other day. What was you doing in sixth grade? I said, I don't know. Finger banging. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know, man. Hell, stealing bicycles. I'm delivering newspapers. I don't know.
That's too much. Well, man. So Bobby, here's the thing.
Okay.
We are actually out of time.
Yeah, I know. We are.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because I don't like our podcast to go any longer than an hour and a half, man.
Yeah.
Just an hour and 15 minutes. So I know we need to wrap things up.
Yeah.
We've got 3 questions left and we're just going to let them go. there's nothing else on that. I don't know if anyone liked the damn Chuck Woolery story. I wasn't trying to be perverted or anything. I just know that, man, that woman, woo, hot diggity dang. You know what I'm saying, man? Yeah. I did want to give a shout out to FTC, the Failure to Conform, the Art of Grappling School of Professional Wrestling. I did stop by there the other evening. It was completely safe environment, but I got to see my good friend Joe, and I got to see my friend Casey King. Joe and I have a handshake deal from the time I've met him. He's always been real good to me. He's got a good setup over there. Jillian Hall, I think, will be back over there this Tuesday. She, at this point, her and Joe and I think Chase wasn't there, but I think he's helping some. I know Casey is. They've got a really good setup for us, the Art of Grappling School of Wrestling. I'm glad to be associated with it, the opportunity I'm given. I just haven't started on a regular basis due to the COVID, of course. But with that said, I went and got my first shot last Wednesday. Yes, I'm still wearing my mask. Yes, I'm still social distancing. And I will probably stop by again. But again, I'm going to make sure I'm completely in a safe environment. And I know I'm going to go back and get my second shot. And even after that, depending on what's going on, I'll probably still wear my mask and social distance because you have to be careful out there. There's still a virus going around, and I just would rather not be a part of it. If we all do the right things, I think we can lick this thing with the availability of these shots and if some smart people just keep being smart and, let the idiots fucking eliminate themselves through process of elimination or what do you call that? Natural selection, if you will. But I'm going to still wear my mask and desanitize and social distance and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Professor, we got to wind her down, man.
Yep. Well, real quick before we go, I do want to say we got a 5-star review from Timbo G over on iTunes or Apple Podcasts now, and he says it's like hanging out with your buddies. I had read Bobby's first book and really enjoyed it, even though I was not greatly familiar with his work in the 90s. So when I saw he had a pod, I tuned in. It's not revolutionary, but it's like an enjoyable, low-key hang with a couple of pals. I listen every week. I didn't know we were supposed to overthrow the government of Cuba, but I do appreciate that's what he meant by revolutionary, right?
Yeah. Okay. I guess so.
I do appreciate you taking the time to do that, Timbo. Thank you very much. Thank you for the 5-star review. That's really great to get. Let us know if there's something you would like to hear us cover, Tim or Timbo. Yes. Bobby, is there anything else you wanted to cover before we go?
I don't think so, man. I know we could probably plug my books in there real quickly because you just mentioned Tim. Thanks for reading my book. Appreciate that. There's another one out there as well. My first one was Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. That's at tinyurl.com/blazebook1. If you're still listening at this point, the second book was I Kicked Out on Two, The Educational Wrestler. Get that at tinyurl.com/blazebook2. And with that said, Professor, I'm going to sign off. It's been great talking to you. I lost on Jeopardy. Sending it back to you.
All right. For the late Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and Double B Bobby Blaze. Bye-bye, everybody.